a 5-year-old, J'adore. She rides today. Charlotte has been entertaining us for the last couple of days. We're so grateful to have this 3-time Olympic gold medalist. She won her first individual and team gold at the London 2012 Olympic Games, and then went on to win individual gold and team silver at the Rio de Janeiro Olympic Games in Brazil 2016. That with the fabulous Vallegro, and he will be here later on after Charlotte's demo. So without further ado, she's giving me the look already, before we start, can I just please remind everybody, no videoing. Please do not video on your iPads or your iPhones, and also no flash photography. So I'll hand you over to the one and the only. Give her a huge round of applause for Charlotte Dujardin.
Good morning, everybody. It's always funny when you sat on one that you know you're going to be all right, and I was thinking, God, Marsha's probably going to absolutely die right now. But anyway, thank you so much for all coming, and a very warm welcome. I am, as I was introduced, I'm on a 5-year-old, so is Marsha. Marsha is a I teach her basically. So I said to Marsha, how would you like to come and ride at your horse live? And she was like, really? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, well, I'm not good enough. And I'm like, Marsha, you're fine. You'll be absolutely fine. She's like, oh no, I can't do it. And I'm like, no, Marsha, you'll be fine. Come on. So Marsha is actually really quite nervous about doing this in front of you. So I thought I'd terrorise her and make her do it. Because you don't get better unless you do these sort of things, and it is quite scary when you have to ride in front of lots of people and you're not used to it. I, on the other hand, I don't really mind. I quite like it, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what it is I look for in a young horse, what I expect from a young horse, a little bit of my routine with what I do with my horses, and we'll go from there. So I'm riding Audrey. She is called, her show name is Alive and Kicking. I haven't actually owned her very long. I've only had her about a year, and she was here yesterday, and she's much more relaxed again today. I was really, really pleased with how she was yesterday. She's never ever seen anything like this, and for me it's a great way of introducing my horses to crowds and atmospheres without having to do a test. Because again, if you think, if I was to take her to a show, and I'm an experienced rider, and I'm a rider that can understand that if it goes wrong, it doesn't matter, there's another day. But for those people that have one horse and want to go to a show, it can be really, really disappointing if you go to a show and your horse misbehaves. Not only do you have a bad day and a bad time, so does your horse. Your horse goes away back on that lorry, unhappy, frightened or afraid, or not had the best experience. So I tend to do a lot of these sort of things with my horses, and if obviously not everybody can do these sort of things with their young horses, but then I take them to different venues, different places. I ride them with different in different arenas. I'll go to my friends, or I'll hire venues, or I'll just take them to a show and not necessarily compete them, so that they get to go to places and not have to be in a test environment. And I don't mind if it goes wrong. It doesn't matter to me, because at the end of the day, it's all about educating them. She's just looking at herself. Good girl. So again, it's very much trying to be as supportive with these young horses as possible. Again, you need to be, as a rider, a brave rider. You've got to be a sensitive rider. You've got to be a rider that's going to give these young horses confidence, because it would be quite easy for me to sit here and be like, holding onto the reins, grabbing hold of her, like thinking, oh my God, you know, when you guys clap, she's going to shoot off. If I think like that, she's going to behave like that. So I try myself, and I know it's easier said than done, just to sit here and try and be floppy and relaxed, so she's relaxed. Because if I'm tight and tense, of course she's going to be tight and tense. So for me, it's all about trying to be relaxed, give those good vibes to her and get her to relax as much as possible. So these sort of demonstrations that I can do, I know at the end of the session, if she starts a bit tight, by the end she will definitely be more relaxed. So Marsha's 5-year-old, J'adore, she's done a couple of novice tests, had very good scores up to, I think, 79%. So when Marsha tells me she's not good enough, she's lying. She has done a few young horse classes, I think. So again, it's more about just getting her out and getting her educated. When you're looking at buying horses, again, like I said yesterday, I don't know how many of you are here yesterday and how many weren't, but the most important thing that you are looking for when you're looking to buy a horse is your walk and your canter. Okay, so don't get carried away with looking at a fancy trot, and I will show you again later this afternoon when I come back in. I have a Grand Prix horse to show you, Florentina, and I can show you the difference between having a nice trot and then what you can do when you teach the horse the suspension. So you can see Marsha's horse already has a lovely trot, lovely swing, very easy. It's not spectacular. You don't look at that and think, oh my God, that's like amazing, but it's very correct. And it's very correct because it has a very good rhythm. And again, if you look at her shape and her mechanics, she's very well put together. She's very uphill by nature. So if you look in front of the saddle, the neck comes up through the wither. Nearly fell off. Hold on, Marsha. Right, go a little bit more forward if you can. That's it. So she's very correct in her outline, very easy in the contact, and again, she's not a big horse. She's not big and she's not small, but she's a lovely size. She's a lovely lady's horse. And again, you know, I think when you're looking at horses, it's really to do with personal preference. We come across horses with all shapes and sizes, and if you look at any of my horses, you can't say I go for one sort of stamp of horse. I have all different sorts. I have tall horses, I have small horses, I have wide horses, I have narrow horses, and to me, it's all about what you feel. So when I am looking at a horse to buy, obviously the paces are important. I want to have 3 correct paces, and the walk and the canter are the most important because they are the 2 paces of all of them that you can't change. You can make an improvement, but you can't change them. And obviously, like I said, when you teach the horse suspension in the trot, how the trot changes. So even a very normal horse, if it learns how to trot with suspension, it becomes a very impressive looking horse. So what do you expect from a young horse? Now, all I really want her to do is to be forward, responsive, reactive, and supple, and straight. How easy. I think one of the hardest things that I see when I teach people is straightness. So people think straightness is having them curled up to the inside. A straight horse should be between 2 reins and 2 legs. So the head and neck is in front of the chest, the inside hind is between the front legs, and the horse is straight. Now, a lot of horses you see, especially when you canter down alongside, you can see their inside hind actually is curled up. And I actually see it more in horses on the left rein than on the right rein, because a lot of us do more to the left than we do to the right. So we end up curling the horses up left and having horses stiffer to the right. Excuse me. So Marsha spends her life dribbling round. I spend my life screaming at Marsha to go more forward, because young horses need to go forward. They have their whole life to collect. We don't want to over-collect them and protect them too much. It doesn't matter if they make mistakes. Dressage is all about repetition. So, back to trot, Marsha. Oh, so use your voice. Now see if you can go a little bit more forward again. And again, she's a very elegant mare. She's very, very sly in her way. She's very athletic. She can be a little bit stiff in the contact, in the rein. And again, that's something that Marsha has to work at keeping her more supple. So again, it's thinking of bending her, circles, not doing too many straight lines. Circles, serpentines, and then you start introducing the leg yield and then the shoulder in to help then obviously with that bend. Now at 5 years old, I would expect her to start to show a little bit of leg yield, a little bit of shoulder in, and then you obviously start introducing a little bit of travers. Excuse me. So a bit more forward again, Marsha. So what I'm really looking for is the horse remains in a really good balance. Marsha's not pushing her, forcing her. It's very easy. It's just a nice working trot. Now when you think of all your trots, you've got your working trot, you've got your collected trot, you've got your piaffe, your passage, or obviously your passage is your most, has the most lift of all trots. You've got your extended trot, your medium trot. Think of how many trots you actually have. You have a lot of different trots. How many of us stay in one trot? A lot of us. We go round and round doing one trot. Now, to keep your horse supple and reactive, because a lot of people say to me, my horse is lazy, my horse is behind my leg, my horse doesn't go when I want it to go. Well, that's because you go round and round in one rhythm, and then the horse gets bored. The horse gets bored and then doesn't stay responsive because it stays in one rhythm the whole time. So lots and lots of transitions, lots of on and back, lots of up and downward transitions. So walk, trot, walk, trot, canter. So if you do some transitions now, Marsha, just go a little bit on and back in the trot. No canter yet, Marsha. She loves her canter, does Marsha? I always say, is there anything inside those black boots? Learn how to use them. Come on. That's it. Well done. Very good. Right, so let's do some transitions. Let's stay on a circle, Marsha, and you'll just do your walk, trot, walk. Now, even though she's going down to the walk, she still has to think forward. Was that forward? Not really. The horse hesitated. You can see she almost came back before Marsha asked her. So then you do the half transition. So now, Marsha, if you just almost think walk, but don't walk. Good. And then forward again. Forward with your legs. Touch. That's it. Don't worry. That's it. And then back again. Almost walk. Almost walk. That's it. And then forward. And patter. Now push your hand forward and then let her out a little bit more in the neck. That's it there. So she doesn't get too round. A little bit more up and out in the neck. As you can see, she just at times curls a little bit over in the contact, and I want her to stay a little bit more out. But again, that's just balance, and that's just greenness. That's where your rider has to become quite confident in the contact of keeping your hand still. Now, what Marsha mustn't do is pull her off the contact, because I don't want her to have an empty rein. I want her to have a rein as if someone shakes your hand, but someone's not violently shaking your hand, and someone's not just touching your hand. Someone is just holding your hand in a nice way. And that's the feeling I want to have in my rein.